Welcome to Delta Flies Outdoors, a podcast brought to you by Julius Craig. Hey everyone, today on Delta Flies Outdoors, we'll be discussing cellular game cameras, forward-facing sonar, like downscope and live scope and all that for boating, and how it's changed the game in hunting and fishing. So, jumping right into it, I guess. We'll start with game cameras. Cellular cameras, used to be fairly expensive. I mean, they're not the cheapest thing out there now, because there's different pricing for, obviously different price points for all of them. And so with different price points on all of them, everybody's got a different opinion on what's the best thing to use and so forth. I've used a couple different name brands, from Cuddy back to Spy Point. So I'm not going to sit here and say one's better than the other. They all have their problems. I've been fortunate and haven't had problems with either set. So I prefer to use my game cameras for the general purpose of scouting. I'll keep them out year round on our private property in North Louisiana, because obviously it's 3.5 hours from where I live at, and it's where I like to take my little boys to hunt. So I like to keep it out so I understand what's going on. That's why I use the cell cameras there. Excuse me, sorry about that. To keep the game cameras out there so I understand what's going on, like I said, because I want to give them the best opportunity and chance to, I don't know if we use the word kill, harvest, whatever. Everybody wants to use a different word. Their best chance of getting an animal. So I use those so that try not to waste their time, because they're at that age of, it's critical. Like, if they're not into it, you're gonna burn them out quick, and then you may have missed an opportunity to turn them on to the outdoors. So obviously, like I said, I use mine on our private property for scouting for that. So, and then so what I want to go into with that, like, I'm a proponent of, like, I like them. I'll continue to use them. Some people say that, oh, well, it creates this thing of, you're sitting at home watching TV in your boxers, and I mean, you see a deer outside, you see a deer because of your camera, and you go out there and you shoot it. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. But more than likely, that same guy that's going to do that, he's got his feeder set up where he can see it from his window of his house. It's just something that some people do. I don't feel like the majority of the people are doing that, though. I feel like the majority is doing it the way that I'm talking. You have them there for, you're not close to it, and you want to try to get the best bang for your buck, per se. So, I feel like the states that are banning them, it's a reach, because I don't think just because you have that and you see the deer when they're out there, per se, at the exact time, because you're not going to see it at the exact time. It's usually a delay in getting your pictures. So it's no different than a regular camera, and in that aspect of, you're not pulling a card, you're just getting them sent to you. It sends them at certain times, because more than likely you're not going to set it up to send it to you automatically every time it gets a picture, because you're going to eat through batteries, you're going to eat through memory, you're going to eat through everything. Even with a solar panel on it, it's going to just wreak havoc on it. Some of them don't have the reception in places. I mean, I think I got one of mine, it has the extendable antenna, like, I've got an aftermarket antenna on it to get it even higher out, and I've got like 25%. So I literally get pictures every 3 to 5 days, because I go from 0 to 25% on my antenna on it. It's crazy. Like, it is deep in the woods. It's not exactly on our private place. So I use mine, like I said, for what they're for. Give me an idea, and I keep the ones on our private place for helping helping my little boys. I have some that are out that are a long ways from here. I feel like everything's changed over the years. You got so much more technology at your hands to help. I mean, like that. With that said, diving into the fishing world side of it, you have pan optics with live scope and all that. A couple other things out, and it's been a game changer, because not just in the cyclade, crappie, white perch, whatever as listeners y'all call it, not only in that world but bass fishing in general, because like OH Ivy is a big example of it. So like in Texas, they're catching some monsters. Like I think they caught a 17-pounder out there the other day, a few 14s. This is all this year, so in 3 months, because this is beginning of March that I'm recording this. It'll be dropped probably sometime Aprilish, but so in the first 3 months of this year, they've caught some monsters. A guy in the fishing world, FLW fisherman Clark Green, I was talking with him the other day on Facebook through some stuff, and that's what he talked about, how forward facing sonar has changed the game, because now you can go there and like you can see the fish, you can target big fish, so you're gonna see like some monsters being caught in every aspect of fishing, because whatever you can, if you can see it, you can work it and try to catch it. Just because you can see it doesn't mean it's gonna bite, though. I mean, that's no different than sight fishing for a bass on a bed. You're not gonna automatically make them bite, or it may take hours upon hours. I mean, a couple weeks back in one of the Florida tournaments, John Cox, he caught 11-pounder in the elite. It took him, I think he said, over 3 hours to do it. So it's a compromise. But the game camera systems and the new technology in the fishing world, has it made it easier? To an extent, it has. But also, just because you can see it on the camera doesn't mean you're going to catch it, or see it on the, you're not going to kill it. Just because you can see it on the downscope doesn't mean you're going to catch it. It still requires work. It still requires boots on the ground, time on the water. Technology has advanced a long ways and has helped us a lot, but it does not make it a 100%. So we're gonna continue talking about this, and I'm gonna dive into some other stuff on it. My thing is, you should use every bit of what's out there to help you in your game of upping your game of doing everything. We have the advances in the technology to help us. We need to use them. You can still do it old school, don't get me wrong. I still put a lot of time boots on the ground, just scouting, or just certain areas that I fish. I don't even turn anything on. I don't, I drop a trolling motor and I fish. I don't use my depth finders, my forward facing sonar that I may or may not have. But I don't use, a lot of times I just don't use it. I'll fish. And it's the game-changing technology is out there for a reason. Just like I said, it's game-changing. But it doesn't make it that you're going to automatically be great at it, or does it give you some some abilities that maybe the next guy doesn't have? Yeah, but he may be better with what he has. It's all about talent. What's the old saying? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Something like that. If you put your work in, you're gonna succeed. And I know that's getting away from what we're talking about with the technology that's out, but I feel like they go in with each other. If you use the technology you have, you can be successful, but you have to put the hard work in. To learn how to use that stuff to your advantage. So, like I said, states are wanting to ban the game cameras. If you're going to go as far as banning the game cameras being used in the deer hunting and game world, are we going to go, what's the difference in going into the fishing world and, hey, well, the downward sonar and all that, forward facing, we're going to go and get rid of that because it's making it too easy. It's making it this, it's making it, so I just feel like when we get into one, are we opening something for the other? And it's I don't want to get into like political or politics on that because it's just a sore subject for non-hunters and hunters. It's, it goes that thing like right now in Louisiana, one legislator proposed bear hunting season. It'll be if it was passed, it'd probably be a lot or going to draw all kinds of, to get there. Well, the response from Wildlife and Fisheries is, we need to get through this lawsuit we have against us before we can see about a hunting season for bear. It's like, so that I was like, wait, what, a lawsuit? So I go in and read more about it. Apparently, the state's been sued because some two groups that are, bear friendly groups, I forget their names, they say that the state lied about how many bear it has. It's kind of odd. Like, they say that, the state claims it has over 1,000 black bear in it. The state of Louisiana says we have over 1,000 black bear. Well, these two proponents of it are saying that they're in their lawsuit that we grossly, the state grossly lied about it. It's less than 500. Okay. That gets into the you'll never really know the truth because they're going to hire their biologist that's going to back theirs. The state's going to have his biologist that backs his. It's just a he said, she said, and it turns, it's a bunch of just bullshit. So, it's, once again, you have technology at hand that can probably answer those questions for you to see who's telling the truth. But it's, it goes into money, and that's a whole, I got to stay away from that because it's early in the podcast. I don't want to piss off too many people in the beginning. I mean, as we go, I'll probably not piss some people off. It's a pretty good talent I have. So, I feel like, I believe it was Utah has already passed legislation to ban the cameras for any type of game, hunting, and use. So we'll see how that changes or does for them. Like I said, when you step into the fishing world with the stuff they have now, it's been a game changer. Like, it has increased size, like the chances of having records broke. So I can't say I get both sides of it because I really don't. I just see I guess my side of it's a great tool to use and utilize to not only help yourself, but to understand the game and to help them. You know what's going on. Like with a cellular camera, you say you're looking through it. It sends you some pictures. You're there. Okay. There's a couple deer. There's with a fawn. There's no with a fawn. You can also see how many, if they're in that area a good bit, you can see how the fawn's developing, the different fawns. It helps you learn. You know exactly what's going on with rut because it's sent to you in pretty accurate time. Also, you know what's going on with predators, how close the predators are behind those deer when they're eating and what's going on. So it gives you an opportunity to help your herd. I see more positive out of it than I do negative. But each state's going to do its own thing and go from there. I mean, Colorado's having a big issue right now with reintroduction of wolves. So you got, the pro-wolf groups that probably don't know much about them. They're all for it. Then you got the farmers and ranchers that see what happens when you bring the wolves in that haven't been there. You bring them in and you see what happens to the cattle herds and everything. And it's like, it's a tough situation. You're legislating stuff in that you haven't lived. So I think I'm not going to sit here and say it needs to be more studies. I think it needs to be more hands-on studies. The people that are putting it in need to know the goods, the bads, the pros, the cons. They actually need to physically be involved, not nowhere near it, just, doing it for a group that's, pushing it. Agendas. Like I said, sorry, I'm getting into politics. Apologize. So the world of game cameras, I feel like has so far advanced. Like I was saying earlier, pricing has like changed tremendously. Used to, I think, hell, game cameras have changed tremendously. I still have, well, it's my dad's. I bought it for him when I was young, 37, so I'm still relatively young, but I mean, like, I was a kid. I was all excited, probably 12, 14 years old. I remember working with my uncle during the summers and stuff, and bought my dad a game camera. It is 35 millimeter. It is still unopened in the package, and it's gun safe. Saw it a few weeks back, probably, when I say a few weeks, it's probably 4 months ago, maybe longer. I don't remember. But it's like, wow, you look at that. It's a 35 millimeter. You have to go get the pictures exposed. Like, and it's like, not only did you have to buy this camera, then you had to pay to have the pictures like exposed. It's like, wow. Then, so then it's advanced a few years and it goes to game cameras and you got SD cards on them. Like, holy shit. And the price on them at first was outrageous. It was like, holy shit, we're getting somewhere. Things are cool. Fast forward a few more years, a couple cellular cameras come out. It's like, all right, the price on them, you had to have a little money to have them when they first came out, just like anything. Well, then now everybody's doing it, and it's like, there's probably more cellular cameras out than there is regular game cameras that take, just go pull your SD card. And it's like, so, and it's been a complete game changer because it's been helpful to me. The way I feel it's been helpful is, like I said, I have those, they're 3.5, 4 hours away. But it's like, you get guys, like when I had my regular SD card cameras out, I would go, if it was local, probably a week to 2 between checking cards. But you get guys that, like, they get picture addicted. It's like, I don't know, deer porn. To them, they gotta have the picture. They gotta see what's on there. It's like, they just gotta see it. So they're constantly, they're checking their camera. They're not hunting anymore. Well, yeah, they are. They're picture hunting. So you're constantly in the woods, disturbing the animals, putting scent everywhere. And now you've hurt yourself big time. Like, you have really messed your chances up. So it's like, they bring these cellular cameras out. Now you're disturbing if you want to get all like, you're disturbing the woods less. So like the habitat's not as upset. You're not doing as much damage. I mean, let's face it. Everything's less in there. Like, there's less human odor. There's less human traffic. There's less, let's be a little, smart ass with it. There's less fuel emissions because people aren't driving to the deer camps regular to pull cards because they're addicted to pictures. They're sitting at home getting them sent to them. So, do you still have guys that are like addicted to pictures? Yeah. I mean, I find it really cool to have my car, like, be sitting there on my phone go off and I've got a deer on camera. It's helped me a lot with I jot stuff down. I'll write it. Sorry, I'm tapping the table while I'm talking. I'll write it down and keep a notebook of it so that I know it's like, okay, this day the temperature was this, it was this time frame. Like, it has helped me a lot because now I have it in close to real time or close to real time. So I don't have to like go back and try and find, the information on the computer of what this picture was 3 weeks ago. What was the temperature? What was the moon phase and all that? I have it right there, like automatic, just boom, it's there. So I can jot it down. Well, that helps in that aspect of I'm looking at it. I know what's going on. I know hey, the deer were moving at this time, and so on. So we do that, and it's a game changer. So that helps tremendously, and like I said, it puts less pressure and less less you disturb the woods less. So then change it over to the fishing world with that. You're using the forward-facing sonar. You can set them to go all the way out to like, you pretty much see like 200 feet out in front of you. Well, you're not. Even using it bank fishing, you're seeing what's up close. You're not right up on it, so you're out a little bit. So you're not pushing up and disturbing the bat, anything as much, the environment. So and it cuts down, like, you can be more, your time's better spent once you learn it. So it's like you're spending more time catching once you understand your equipment. And it's like people, like, you get into the competitive bass fishing world, you get average guys like gripe about, well, they couldn't catch it without their forward facing sonar. They couldn't catch it without this. Those guys could. Just like the guys, like, oh, well, they don't catch them like, some of the big names from back in the day, the Larry Nixons, the Roland Martins, the Tom Manns, the, Martin. It's like, but they had the best of the best when they were fishing. Those guys could take those, as Lowrance, I believe, made them, and they was in a flasher. And a lot of guys aren't going to know what I'm talking about. But a flasher in your boat, and you adjust it, and it's just this little red line, and it goes back and forth, and like, I'm going to be posting this on YouTube also, so you can see what I'm talking about with my hands and everything. It was just flasher. It's like kind of going back and forth, and if you know how to read it, it tells you if you're on sandy bottom, rocky bottom, like if it's picking up like sticks, like limbs and stuff. It tells you everything if you know how to read it. Those guys knew what they were doing. Hell, some of them printed out like a graph piece of paper, kind of looked like a lie detector coming out, like, pretty cool. But you had to know what you were doing. So they had the best of the best at their disposal, and goes back, like I said earlier, they put the time in. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Not only were they talented, they worked their asses off. So, just because you have the top of line equipment doesn't mean you're not gonna be the best of it if you don't put the time in to learn it. It's like, like I said with the game cameras, I know pretty much when the deer are going to be out there, and I know within a few minutes if they're out there because I get the pictures. But if just running out there killing one, still not as easy as people try to make it sound. You got to get into the woods without scaring them. You got to there's so much you got to do physically if he's there, even if he's already there. If it's already there in place to get to it. So just because you have that camera that's telling you this doesn't mean, oh, there's a deer out there, I can go kill it because it's on camera and it's within 5 minutes or it's live right now. Good luck sneaking up on it. You got to be good. You got to put the work in. So I think you should use all tools that are at your disposal to make yourself better at what you do. I mean, Google Earth Maps, another good one. I like it for fishing because I can go back and look at stuff from, on Google Earth Pro, where I can take the time frames and start, going through them and find the lowest points of a lake. So then I can start dropping pins on those. So when I go back forward to current day and the water's up to normal, those pins are there, but all the stuff I marked is covered up. I can convert that over to an SD card, put it in my unit on my boat, and go out there and check those spots. I have them for several lakes that I've made that I fish. But I'm using the technology that, is put out. And the way I actually learned how to do it through, I believe Wired to Fish did a whole video series on it. I could be mistaken. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to actually pull that up while I'm recording. We'll see. Fish the Moment. It was Fish the Moment that did a whole series on it on YouTube. Awesome to watch. Like they did that whole series on it and showed how to do it. Really cool. Check it out. It's moving stuff around so you hear the mouse rolling. So yeah, it's really cool. I would check if you're into fishing. Check out their YouTube page and you can find that on how to do stuff through Google Earth Pro. So, and it works in the hunting world too, because you can go roll it back, show clear cuts and points, from say 10 years ago, prior to clear cuts, different, just whatever. Well, you have GPS coordinates that you can go to and look at stuff for public land scouting. You're using the technology. but you're putting the work in to learn how to use the technology. It all coincides with each other. The guys that are good at what they do use the technology that's in front of them. They hone their skills. Not only do they hone their skills of being in the woods on the water, they hone their skills of being able to look at maps, being able to take the ambient temperatures of everything, and like they go through every bit of information they can get. The more information you can get about something, the more success you're gonna have. I know I kind of veered off possibly on subject. Apologize for that. Kind of turned into more of a, put your work in, use the technology given to you. So I believe this one's going to be around 25, 30 minutes. Try not to be long on my podcast, just due to the fact that, I'm ADHD as hell. So it kind of, I know some of my viewers will be, and I don't want them to lose interest. Then I don't just want to start looking stupid, because I'm like, squirrel brained. So, with that, we're going to call it out. This is Julius Craig, Delta Flyge Outdoors, podcast brought to you by Delta Flyge Outdoors. Thanks.